Hi everybody, I just realized our video was not on. So, you know, it's just one of those I could not sleep last night. Anyways, welcome everybody. We've been chatting as though you've been online and we just realized that it isn't. So, yeah, you know, a tree fell on my house and took out the fan. It's just been a very weird day. So, welcome. I'm going to turn this around, and can I? You just did such a lovely introduction. Can I ask you to do that again?
All right, I can.
Aw, thank you.
Exactly the same words.
I hope I can remember them. Okay, my name is Paula Mwangi. I'm a HR practitioner by profession. I heard about the L&D Roundtable a year ago, but last year was a bit crazy. I tried to make it, but I didn't make it at all. But this year I said I will purpose to be here, because when all is said and done, my end game for me is to become an L&D specialist. So if I was being in the L&D Roundtable would also help me to prepare for that.
Oh,
yeah, that's why I'm here today.
I love that you're going from HR to L&D. Some people go from L&D, learning and development, to HR. So that's great. Yes. Oh, yay. And how did you hear about the roundtable?
I was told by a former colleague who used to be our L&D, where I used to work before.
Nice.
So told me about it, yes.
Welcome.
Thank
so
you.
happy you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Sophia. We can see you online. Sorry, we had some technical issues. So so happy to have you here. And feel free to introduce yourself by chat if you like in a moment. We'll let you get settled.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Romero. I'm very new in Nairobi. I just arrived about a month ago. What brought me here was I learned about this group through a friend of mine who gave me a cultural introduction course. So I'm very keen to learn more about what you guys are doing and know the whole group.
Nice. Welcome. And Jody, if you ever listen to this or see this, thank you for introducing her. We're happy to have you. Sophia says hi and thank you. Hi Joanne, we can see you online. Welcome. And Ivan, welcome to come on. Good morning.
For me, I've been for Learning and Development Roundtable since 2013. And I was introduced here by Rian. And today, even I've attended to meet the modern learner. And it has been so empowering for me, because I'm the founder of ITPT, Independent of the Disabled Person of Kenya, and I'm a mentor by profession. And I normally feel moved when I bring change to my community for people living with disability. So it has been giving more skills. I've been learning new skills, how to change my life, and also to touch others. And my heart is to make our community to be independent. Yes, not dependent in our life. Fresh community.
So nice to have you. If you can just make sure that that's facing me now. Okay. I can see that there's a couple of questions which I'll get to in a couple of minutes here. And for the folks online, know that I can't yet see your comments, but I'll get to them in just a second. I can't seem to find the live video, which is kind of weird, on my laptop, which is normally how I do this. So today we're here to talk about the Meet the Modern Learner. And this was an infographic that I came across online. Has anyone seen this before? It was a really interesting way of looking at how learning has changed. So in our roundtable, we alternate guest speakers and networking sessions. So guest speakers, obviously we have some come in and give a topic. Our networking sessions, members ask to have a little bit more informal sessions sometimes so people could connect more with each other, because our community is so lovely and diverse. So today's a networking session. So in a networking session, typically I kick us off, and then we have some small group discussions. So I have a couple of questions that we can talk about, as a large group, and then I thought we can divide up maybe into pairs, and I can facilitate the folks online and we can go from there. Does that sound okay? Okay. So for folks online, I'm going to put you so you can see my screen here. And then I can see your comments as well. Hi Mary, I can see that you're online. Hannah, you made it! I know, I saw your message that you had some issues, so welcome, welcome. So lovely to have you here, everybody. Okay, so, and folks online, feel free to participate by comments. I'd love to know, what have you learned lately? What have you learned lately? And folks online, feel free to answer that question on chat. What have you learned lately? Okay, you're learning people. The fact that it's taking a long time for discussion is worrying me a little bit. No.
Yeah, well, I will point out the cultural learning that I've been going through over the last couple months before arriving here, and as I arrived in this new country, about how people behave in different areas, personally, professionally.
Yeah.
It's been very, very challenging, very interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Nice, nice. What about yourself?
I've been learning lately that for one to succeed, the structure is key.
Structure is key.
Yes,
okay.
structure is key. Whereby from over and above self-discipline, how structured are you as a person? How structured are you even if you're running an organization? How structured are you? That it's very, very paramount and in-depth and really key.
Okay, so sort of things related to organizational development.
Yes.
And okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just a little concerned that I can't see. Normally, I look at our video online and I can see everyone's comments, and I can't see them, which is really weird. So I'm sorry, folks. For those of you online, I'm just trying to find. It's a little. Why don't? Anyways, just while I try to figure this out. Oops. Nicodemus, what have you learned lately?
May have learned about if you want to have a good organization, you have to have a wise wisdom. Well, we be able to work with a good team. You need to have a good wisdom, and also to see you have a good vision, whereby you will go beyond achievable things. You move beyond what you can achieve. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so also kind of some things related to organizational development. So Mary and Hannah, for those of you online, for some reason I can't find the live video on my laptop. So I've made a post at the very top in our Facebook group. So you'll see here. So any questions or comments, just feel free to make them here, and I will see them and be able to respond. So Hannah and Mary, if you have anything that you've learned lately, feel free to post there, and then I'll be able to see them. So for myself, one of the things that I'm learning right now, I have a really, really steep learning curve, which is online marketing. So and digital marketing and digital strategy. I'm decided to add teaching my courses online this year. Normally I deliver most of my courses face-to-face. I can just see, hi Wenjugo, thank you for joining us. I have that we all have different ways of learning, and as a leader it's key to understand these methods better. Wonderful, absolutely. So for myself, yeah, I'm in a really, really steep learning curve. I'm redesigning my website, so learning things about web design and development, and the difference between web design and web development, and the difference between a digital strategy and a social media strategy. So lots going on there. Love to know, how did you learn those things? So the things that you just talked about learning, how did you learn those things?
Training.
So
specialized training.
okay, you went to so that was Jodi's workshop. Yeah.
Yes, not only,
Mhm.
but even back home, I prepared myself for what was coming by professionals and by people that had had the same experience as I have. So I'm a business consultant, so I was very curious about understanding how organizations work in this part of the world. So I contacted people that actually have had this experience. So that was very helpful to understand, to get prepared. And the most structured training that I got was here on site with Jodi, actually.
Ah, okay. Okay, so what I hear in that is a combination of informal learning,
Correct.
you know, being proactive, seeking out people that have been there, done that,
Correct.
as well as some formalized, you know, in a classroom learning.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Rania. Welcome. Aw, that's so great. Rania, I'm having trouble with some tech today, so the top post in the Learning and Development Facebook, feel free to make comments there, because I, for some reason, can't seem to see them on my laptop, which is how I normally respond to folks. What about yourself? When you talked about those things connected to organizational development, how did you learn those things?
I've worked in a number of companies, and one of the things that I realized is, especially within a startup company, whereby if you're starting up a company and the organization development is not in line, you might end up losing quite a bit, especially on the finances, because of the lack of the structure in itself. And you could probably end up doing so much, but when you realize if you just put the structures right, then instead of taking 2 hours to do one thing, you probably take an hour to do the same thing. So I think it's in that, especially from having worked in a number of startups.
So I have a name for that. I call that catch the ripple to avoid the wave. So basically it sounds like what you're saying, but don't let me put words in your mouth, is the importance of being proactive, right? Is really putting that time in to get that learning, to avoid headaches and migraines down the road.
Exactly.
Rania says, hello. Where are you right now? Rania, where are you participating from? Let us know in the comments if you like. And I'm also curious to hear, how did you learn those things? So you've talked about what you've learned. How did you learn those things?
I learned them because what I realized is I also have a finance background, much as I'm
Okay.
I also have a finance background. So there was a time I realized when I was working in a particular startup, I realized that it was very key because I was actually doing admin, accounts, and HR, all of them at the same time.
Okay.
So when I was working and I was juggling all these balls, I realized that the only best way to avoid some of the issues we are facing as we're going along is to ensure that the systems are right, whereby you come up with processes, systems, policies, so that now instead of trying to firefight a situation, the system and the process is already there. So I think that it's after working in a startup that's when I got to learn those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that you learned from personal experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So you weren't in a classroom. It wasn't a university lecture. Yeah. And Ranya's coming to us from Dubai, by the way, which is pretty cool. So we've got, you know, a combination so far of personal experience, on the job, real-time learning. We've got seeking out, you know, being proactive, you know, taking the lead ourselves, and then going to workshops. So there's already quite a variety of ways of learning, as well as what we've been learning. Nicodemus, you talked also about some things that affect, you know, organizational development. How did you learn those things?
I learned them through training.
Training, okay. So like in an official workshop.
Yes, and Landmark School of East Africa.
Okay.
And also I'm learning them through Emerging Leaders Foundation.
Okay, nice.
And this has been taking my life change
Yeah.
in the field of leadership.
Yeah.
Because I am aware that when you want to be a good leader, you have to have a good initiative.
Yeah.
You have to be wise in the areas of leadership. Because in my community, also I want to create leaders.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, leaders are being born, are being created. So when I get these new skills, I normally do share with them, with the community. I normally have trainings also, a mentorship program. And for for what I'm doing now, I feel so happy when I see my people also get in touch in me in terms of leadership.
So one of the things that that you really bring to the table, and I've had the benefit of knowing Nicodemus for some time, is a real focus on community, right? So you're really, my sense of you is you're really focused on taking your learning back to your community and influencing and supporting and driving change in your community, particularly around people with disabilities. Yeah, so. Trisha and Janeth, hello! Oh my goodness, Janeth, are you in Finland? Let us know in the comments. And Trisha's coming to us from Victoria, Canada, which is pretty cool. If you're just joining us live, guys, I'm having some trouble finding. Normally, I respond. Hey, Sophia. Oh, Sophia's having trouble with her connection. And when Jugo, personal curiosity led to search online and finally enrolling in workshops and programs. Yeah, so one of the themes that I'm hearing is there's a lot of personal motivation, right? That it's not someone saying you need to, attend this course. It sounds like one of the themes here is people being self-directed, self-motivated. So I'm curious then to know, did social play any role in your learning? And when I mean social, I mean both social media, online, digital tools, and social as in direct, face-to-face, personal community connections.
Yeah, big time, big time. I started my career about 15 years ago as a marketer. So I really experienced the change from, offline to online advertising communication. That was a huge challenge for me. It was right at a time. I mean, this is all brand new, and every year this keeps on changing.
Yeah.
I've experienced that. It was a challenge for me, even though I have been worrying about myself and concerned about keeping on track with that. But I have to say that it has been a challenge because the change has been very quick. So you have to be very fast.
Yes.
And it keeps on changing. I mean, what is actual today is not going to be actual in 6 months because that goes so fast.
Yeah.
So to keep on track with that, I think it's extremely critical to work with specialists.
Yeah.
And there's new specializations every year.
Yes,
because
especially social,
marketing has become so broad. When you talk about, I want to hire or I want to be a social media expert, well, what does that mean? That's so broad. So you have to split down in specializations and in small pieces to actually be really good at it. So I think that concept has really, really changed. That there is not such a thing as a social media specialist. I mean, that's way
too broad now. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
For those of you online, feel free to leave a comment there if social has played a role in your learning. Trisha's had to go, I think. Is dipping in and out. So Janeth, I'd love to hear from you, or anyone else online. Has social media, digital media, has that influenced your learning? For me, right now this is just astounding to me. I'm taking what's it called, the Complete Digital Marketing course. It's through Udemy, so UDEMY. Costs $15. And it's hours and hours of content that is organized beautifully. It's evergreen, so meaning it's not live. But the guy's really clever. He connects everything to his Facebook page, so you can ask questions. And I heard about it because Mashable. So if you know the big online platform, Mashable was promoting this course. And then recently I saw that CNN was promoting the course. So I thought that was really interesting to have these big bodies, saying, hey, we approve of this course.
Right.
And that it comes with different pros and cons, you know. I mean, I grew up, you know, going to university, and you had a professor standing there, and you took notes, you know, by hand in a book. And so now I've got, you know, part of my screen is I'm watching the video, and then another part of the screen I'm taking notes, and I'm highlighting, and I'm cutting and pasting, and I'm taking screen grabs, and I'm putting that on my notes, and then it, you know, it's just a whole other way of learning. What about yourself? Has social played any role in your learning?
I would say for that particular learning, I would say not so much, because from my end it was more from an observation perspective. Whereby it's what I observe, it's what I saw. It's the end result that I saw after 1 to 3 things being done or not being done. So I'd say the major part for me has been observation and just analyzing, observe, analyze, and come to conclusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in a way, it was very social, because you were observing people. In terms of using any technology or tools, it wasn't social. But in terms of, you know, what's happening in the workplace and observing what people were doing, yeah. Okay. What about yourself?
For me, it's social media. For me, is something which is grateful in my life. Because even now I'm doing a social media run by John Asara. And it is about how to set good goals. On Tuesday, he was talking about the fire, about reasons, engagement, or about how you feel, about the extent, and how you imagine. So those are some of the 6 steps to rewire your mindset.
Okay.
And also I'm doing another one for that one is for also leadership.
Okay.
And I've learned 7 highly effective, 7 habits for highly effective people. Being proactive, to sharpen your soul.
Yeah,
and
that's my
also,
favorite one.
Yes. So for me, they are building me. Social media is building me in terms of the community.
Nice.
As you have said, for me, I'm based about the community.
Yeah.
So many things which I normally do, I want even others to do them.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman. There are some who are running business. I'm a leader. There are some who are joining me in leadership. So I'm almost there. And also I'm creating that network also.
Nice.
For my community to do things in also online.
I just want to jump in and let you know that Brizanne is online. Brizanne, welcome. Let us know, where are you coming from? Are you home here in Kenya, or are you still in the UK? Brizanne did a session on working with pastoralist children. He's from Turkana, and I have very special memories of him being in my home, and we did this social innovation safari together, and we're having dinner and talking about all these stories and cow raids, and you know, and his organization actually had was where the group voted to donate to this year. So, which is great. So welcome, Brizanne. Let us know if social is playing any role in your learning. Janeth says she's taking a special course on the internet. Janeth, tell us more about that. I know you are. Janeth is a sponge. Hi, welcome. Have a seat. Welcome. Oh, you're gonna. Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Velma. Velma just came in. She's the person who, if you can believe it, brings ease to that process, because we've had even more challenges before. So Janeth is like a virtual sponge. She is learning new things all the time. If you feel like it, Janeth, let us know what course you're taking on the internet, and also, are you coming to us from is it Finland, or yeah, let us know where you're from. And Paul, hi Paul, welcome. Let us know if social has played a role in your learning lately. That's what we're talking about right now. I'd love to also know what prompted you to learn some of those things. Like, what was the need? What was the need behind learning those things?
Well, the need is just your daily life. I mean, you cannot get over it. That's the first thing for everybody with independence of your profession. For me, obviously, being a marketer or having a marketing background, there was a need, professional need to get specialized and have a deep knowledge about digital and social.
So yeah, so that need to keep up professionally. By the way, Cam, I see that you're online. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. Brizan says, thank you, Lee. I was in Kenya last week and back to graduate and complete my fellowship. Yay! Yay! Welcome, welcome. That's so exciting. He's doing a special fellowship in the UK. I hope you're keeping warm there and you've got your shuka with you. When Jugo says, I'm taking an accounting course on edX. It's very challenging, especially because I'm used to being in a class. Okay, yeah, so edX is another one of the really big online platforms along with Udemy and things like that. So that, yeah, that drive to keep up and that professional development. In all of my 30 years of doing this kind of work, not once have I ever been asked, and Rania says, I discovered Blinkist app through social media. They summarize books in bullet points. Oh, yes. Okay, I've heard of this. They summarize books in bullet points that they call Blink 1, 2, 3. Yeah, Rania, how is it good? Is it? I've read a few reviews that are mixed. So yeah, would love to hear more about that. Have you guys heard of Blinkist?
Yeah, I get it advertised on Facebook all the time.
Yeah. So that's an interesting.
Yeah, but I haven't tried it.
Okay.
So it will be great to know.
I have a very proactive learning strategy, and part of my proactive learning strategy is I'm really good at buying books. I have a little harder time reading them. So at the beginning of every year, I take 12 books. Just because the comments are disappearing, because for some reason I can't get them on my laptop. I know we're jumping around here a bit, but I want to read the comment before it disappears. Brizan says, I was motivated to apply for online courses for 2 reasons. Time-wise, Kenyan university system is too, and then I can't see the rest of the comment. Yeah, so at the beginning of every year, on one shelf of my bookcase, I pull forward 12 books. And then my goal is at least one a month. I shift it to the other side of the bookshelf after I've read it. So I take, you can tell I'm a super organized kind of person. I cannot tell you what pride and pleasure I take when this side, is getting smaller, and this side's getting bigger, and I make lists of those so I know, and I put them online to share with people and do book reviews and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. So does this, I have one more question, and then would that feel like a good place then to shift into talking about the infographic? Is this helpful? Any changes to the process you want to make?
It's fine.
Okay, so my other question then, and I know we were going to have a few more people here, but just to try to make it a little bit more interactive, when I do local train, I have a whole closet full of program supplies to make things interesting and engaging when I'm doing training, and I've challenged myself to try to find things here in Kenya, because oftentimes people see stuff and then, where do I get that? I'm like, oh, I got that in England, or oh, I got it in wherever. So I have these kind of interesting, I think, we'll see what you guys think, interesting little, I think they're erasers that I bought for nothing. Like they're like 20 shillings each or something like that, so like 20 cents each. So what I would love for you to do, if you're comfortable, is I'll just put these in a line here and come on up, and for those of you online, you can just count. You can just tell me the third one in from the right or whatever. So come on up, come take a look, and tell me which one represents how you feel about technology in the role of learning. So pick one of these that represents how you feel about the role of technology in learning. Oh, and while you're doing that, Sophia says, I'm now reading a book that was, Blue Ocean. Okay, awesome, Sophia. It took me a while to begin reading it, and then unfortunately the comment, I I can't see the rest of the comment. Blue Ocean is a wonderful, wonderful book. Feel free to pick up the one if you like. Okay, so we've got one there. Okay, so this is the one. Okay, you can talk about that in just a minute. Anyone else want to pick one that represents how do you feel about the role of technology in learning? Okay, so Nicodemus is going for one. Okay, there you go. You've got one. Okay, great. Anyone else online? Is there anything that you want to? We've got that one there. We've got this one. That one's that's an interesting expression. And that one there. And there's some other ones here. Anyone online? Okay, you can let us know in the comment section. Okay, so feel free to have a seat, and then tell me about how you feel about tech in education. And just while you're thinking about that, we did a networking session on the Blue Ocean. If anyone's heard of that book, you would love this book. Oh yeah, it's so good. I summarized it. It's in the portal of resources if it's something you're interested in. The presentation is online there.
Who's the author?
I don't know if they're two MIT profs. Sophia, do you if you have the authors handy and you want to pop it in the comment there? Hey, Erica, welcome.
I think I've read that.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Erica, I think Erica's in China right now. She's online. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about right now the role of technology in learning, and Erica says hi. I have these little kind of funny, they're little erasers, but I was challenging myself to find things in Kenya that other people could take advantage of when they're teaching, instead of bringing supplies that aren't available here. So we're kind of using them as a jump start to how people feel about technology in learning. So someone was about to say something, one of you, and I can't remember which one it was.
No worries, I can just go on.
Okay.
In terms of technology learning, I feel it's been very, very relevant, and what I can say is right now there's so much what we call the e-learning that somebody can do, whereby if let's say you want to attend a particular training and you're not able to show up physically, you can always attend the e-learning and actually do the learning online wherever you are at your own convenient time.
Yes.
So in terms of technology in learning, it's really helping. Meaning even if it's within an employment space, employees of an organization can still continue learning every now and then because of the available space for the e-learning tools and the modules that are already in the system.
Okay. Ranya's just said, Wanjugo, thanks for coming back. She's back online. Rania says the last one, the one outside the paper. Was it this one here? I'll put them all in a line, and then you just tell me the third from the right or whatever you want. Just put them right together. So this is one of the challenges, right, of technology and learning. We're having some tech issues right now, and I'm really wanting to try to, involve people online. Oh, Sophia says the book is Blue Ocean Strategy by Chan Kim.
Yeah, I think I've read that.
Zach, welcome. We're so happy that you're here. If anyone online wants to pick one of these little faces and how it might represent how you feel about technology and learning, let us know. Sophia's saying, if I remember correctly, she doesn't have it with you. Good memory. I have a feeling that's right. Okay, and Ranya's saying the first one from the right. So this one here. Janice is saying she's in Oslo at the moment. She's taking a course about trauma. Okay. Social media has been a major player. Okay. Janeth, our last month's session was all on trauma-informed practice and learning. So if you haven't looked at those resources, there's tons there. Last month's speakers had tons and tons of, shared tons of resources with us. So Rania has picked this one here. So tell us a little bit, Rania, in the comment section why you picked that one. If you're comfortable doing that, why that one reflects how you feel about tech and learning. And just while you're thinking about that, did you have anything to add about tech and learning and how you feel about that?
Well, I picked the smile one, the very first one.
Okay.
I really embraced it. I think it makes life so much easier, personally, and in organizations. It is so effective. I mean, it has been such a blessing that actually all these tools that are available save so much costs,
Yeah.
make this world so much smaller. I've been able to work with people in the US, Australia, Europe by having these common digital tools that was unthinkable 15 years ago.
Yes. Yes.
So this is just wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, the attitude. I mean, my major challenge managing digital challenge and transformation projects is the attitude of the people.
Yes.
That
Yes.
How they go about it.
Yeah.
Technology in people's minds, especially if they are not very exposed, can be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, I don't want it. It means stepping out of the comfort zone, what you've been doing for so many years. You really have to embrace it and see the benefit, because there's a lot of benefit. So it's all about the attitude.
Yeah.
I've seen 60-year-old people that have embraced it and have seen the beauty and the benefit of all this, and are like millennials. So nothing to say on that. So it's about the attitude.
And speaking of embracing, and also the challenges of tech, what we're doing right here, because my gaze is switching back and forth between looking at the person who's speaking to making sure I'm capturing people online. And I just want to say, Niall is just joining us from. Niall, where are you? Are you in Bangkok now? He's online, and Niall, right now we're talking about the role of technology in education, and how that affects kind of modern learning. So if you have anything to say about that, feel free to jump in. All your comments are welcome. And Rania, if you're comfortable talking about why this one, where's the camera? There we go. Why this one reflects how you feel about tech and learning, feel free to talk about that. I am blown away by the opportunities now, and how it. I was just Rania saying, I want to be near people when I learn and teach. Okay, oh, brilliant. Okay, that's very succinct. I want to be near people when I learn and teach. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess the flip, what I'm assuming, the statement underneath that, Rania, is that you don't feel near people when you're learning and teaching using technology. Okay, she's saying it feels different. Yeah, absolutely. I feel there's a little level of awkwardness that I'm feeling in my brain by breaking eye contact consistently with the people that are in the room, because I'm trying to make sure that I'm capturing. I don't want the people online to feel like I'm not paying attention and they're making a comment and I don't say it. But it does feel a bit weird if someone's talking and you're not looking at them, right? Like you look away. When I do my training of trainers, actually that's a tip that I always teach people. If you're trying to get people to engage more, and as the instructor, if you pretend to be doing something, they will automatically start looking at each other more, because people want to get engagement. But it's a little different when the reason why you're not looking is because you're looking at a screen, right? That can feel a bit odd, or maybe even a little bit rude to people in the room. So doing these, when you're doing it live, in person as well as online, it can be, it's just different, right? And I wholeheartedly support that, Rania. It just definitely feels different. From a mindful perspective, she says the online course is distracting. Okay, interesting, yeah. And just for a point of, a different point of view, when I'm doing any kind of online, if I'm learning online, I love the ability for me to laser focus. Okay, what did they say? Okay, I'm gonna rewind the video 10 seconds, or okay, no, I know this part, so I can forward it, whatever. Yeah. It really, I think one of the themes that I'm hearing is that this is not a neutral topic. People have strong feelings about this. When you were talking about it, you were really lit up, right? You were, this is great, and there's all these opportunities. And also, I don't know about anyone in the room or online, but I'll just make a little confession. There has been definitely way more than one time where I've been in tears, if I can't figure something out and the tech is just getting in the way of the learning. I wrote a blog post recently about, I was taking this online course, and all you had to do, there was all these different kinds of chairs in the corner of the screen, and you were supposed to pick one and pull it into the circle, right? So it was a way of like people gathering in a circle. And then you were supposed to type your name under the chair. You think I could grab a chair? You think I could just, and I'm trying, and everyone else's chair is going into the circle. So I'm feeling awkward, I'm feeling embarrassed, I'm feeling super frustrated. And this is an introductory exercise, so it's right at the beginning. And then finally, I get the chair, not the one I wanted, but a different chair. I drag it, onto the screen in the circle. And somehow I type my name, and my name appeared like almost the size of the screen. So, and just behind the curtain, I'm aware that the people online are not seeing me. So I'm trying to I'm moving my hands so the people in the room can see me, but I'm trying to also describe how I use the words, that the words when I was typing became the size of the screen because people online can't see me. Rania is putting lots of emojis of laughing so hard that the person's crying. Yeah. Oh, I was so, because the words were taking up the whole screen, and I'm like, oh, are they gonna think I'm arrogant? Like, is this how they're seeing it? Like, not 0.0005% of my brain was focused on what, I can't even remember what the course was. I was just like, I'm just, So I don't know if anyone online can relate to that, or anyone in the room. My opinion is that, technology should enhance the learning, and it should not be the point, right? When the technology, displaces the learning, I think part of the big emotions come from, it's social now, right? Like, if you're having a problem, people can maybe see that you're having a problem. It's not necessarily a private thing. So there's all these, extra layers of opportunities and extra layers of challenges. Nicodemus, anything that you want to say about how you feel about the role of technology in education and learning?
Yes, for me, it has opened my eyes. Before I've not been in touch with it or about technology. But now I can do things online. So I feel I'm opened, even my mind. For the one which I've picked it has a small eye and a big eye. The
Okay.
one which I've
Let me see if I
picked.
can find it.
So it has opened my mind, even my thinking.
This is, for those online, this is the one that Nicodemus picked.
Because when I want to do things, I structure myself. For example, the one which I'm doing for the online, I'm normally do them at 9. So during the daytime, I'm free. I'm doing my own things about the development, about the community.
Yeah.
Then during the night, now I'm back to do my learning, my training about leadership. So
sorry.
it creates that time. You structure your time, your life. Yes.
I'm curious, anyone online or in the room, you've brought up an excellent point. So our ability to engage in online learning whenever we want, I think, is a double-edged sword. Because on the one hand, if I want to, I can do it at midnight or I can do it at noon, so the choice is completely mine. The downside of that, I don't know if you would probably know this about the scarcity principle. Human brains are wired to react to scarcity. So if something is available 24/7, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, okay, I'll get to that later. Okay, it's going to be there, as opposed to I've got to be in the room at 2 o'clock because that's when so I think it's an interesting contrast, right? It's a benefit and a challenge.
Yeah, I think different people go differently about it.
Yeah.
Probably people. Well, see, I disagree that this is a generation thing. I think it's a personal thing how you go about it. To me, it's become so natural that I'm not procrastinating all the time. I can do it whenever. To me, that's a help. It's not that I'm postponing that. Not at all. I think if you feel that way, it has probably not become very natural to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think there is still a way to go to, you know, to get to this change of paradigm of learning.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
we all have to get there, because this has come to stay and progress. It's not that something that you can choose.
Yeah.
This is just the way that
Yeah.
people are going to interact with each other in
Absolutely.
any
Absolutely.
aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So you have to get used to that, and changing mindsets, it's not something that you can do overnight.
Yes. And also thinking about the opportunities. I'll just show folks online, you know, I'm doing this process of redesigning my website. And Wenjugo says it's great, especially because it saves on resources in today's quick, fast-changing world. E.g., getting books. And then, sorry, Wenjugo, I'm having trouble seeing all the comments. If you wanted to repeat that comment, I can see E.g. getting books. You know, I'm guessing there, you know, being able to access all that information online instead of having to print stuff off, you know, saving trees.
That's due to the transformation.
Yeah. This is just a small example. I've done my CV in an infographic format, and we're going to have that on the website, and people download it. And the last time I looked, I had worked with people in and from more than 80 countries. And so I asked my VA to make so Wenjugo saying getting books to remote places versus just an updated version of an ebook. Yeah, absolutely. So I had my VA make this map. So it's a super easy, free program. And it turns out that I've worked with people in and from more than 115 countries. So just the ability, you know, to use these tools, they're easy, they're free, to be able to share them. You know, it's just a really interesting way now to be in this learning field. Okay, I'm going to suggest now that we take some time in small groups to talk about the infographic. So this is, I'm just showing the folks online the one that I've shared. It's also in a couple places in the Facebook group, so you can look at it there. So does this feel like a good place? Do you guys want to spend some time chatting about this infographic, and then we'll reconvene? Okay. Okay, so for folks online, would love to hear any comments about what you're seeing in front of you about this infographic. Sorry, there's a cart going by. It's a little noisy there. It'll be quieter in a sec. So this is a infographic that talks about the modern learner. Anything, Wenjugo, anything that jumps out at you, what you notice? Did you guys have a chance to, oh, you've got it digitally, okay, great. So one of the things that jumped out at me, I'll just, if anyone makes a comment, I'll just cut to that, but you know, the fact that, so Wenjugo, yeah, overwhelmed, yeah, absolutely. Can you tell me more, Wenjugo? What do you notice about that? I see, I don't know if you have them in front of you, if you have the text larger, but under overwhelmed here it says, maybe we can go through I can make this larger for you too. Let's see here. So if we start in the middle here, you know, only 1% of a typical work week is all that employees have to focus on learning and development, and that is not a lot of time. And you know, presumably, as you mentioned, Wenjugo, you know, people are really overwhelmed. You know, 41% of time workers spend on things that offer little personal satisfaction and do not help them get work done. I mean, that is amazing. That's almost 50% that, you know, workers are not, you know, feeling satisfied, and they're not getting work done. Nicodemus, we're just breaking up into small groups to talk about the infographic. So if you want to join these folks here, I'm just facilitating the folks online.
The challenge of
knowledge workers are constantly distracted with millions of websites, apps, video clips. I'd add their GIFs, all of that. Feel free at any time, anyone online, to jump in if you have a comment or a question. 2/3 of workers actually complain that they don't have time to do their jobs. So that's a lot. Yeah, Janet, so you're picking up on the overwhelm too. Yeah, absolutely. Workers now get interrupted as frequently as every 5 minutes. Ironically, often by work applications and collaboration tools. I mean, there's huge irony there. So online designers now have between 5 and 10 seconds to grab someone's attention before they click away. So you may be able to relate to this if, I wonder about these long learning and development videos and how to make them easier for people to access.
Where they exactly
it's all, a 2-hour meeting or so is a lot of time to wade through if you're trying to find something, very, very specific. 9 times every hour, people are unlocking their smartphones. That's that's more than every 10 minutes. And most learners won't watch a video longer than 4 minutes. So some of the themes here are overwhelmed and distracted. So in the early days of the internet, people were online about 5 times every day, and now people are going online about 27 times. So one thing we haven't talked about is the digital divide. Wanjugo says technology and more so social media I find is the go-to for every second we take a break. Yeah, and then there's more research about the colors of the screens and how is that affecting our ability to sleep. Just scroll over here. So at the top here, modern learners, as training moves to more digital formats, it's colliding with new realities in learners' jobs, behaviors, habits, and preferences. Today's employees are overwhelmed, distracted, and impatient. Flexibility in where and how they learn is increasingly important, and they want to learn from their peers and managers as much as from experts, and they're taking more control over their own development. And those last 2 bits I think are really great, right? Like learning, peer-based learning. I know some of the online learning I'm designing right now, that's a really big component, is really encouraging peer-led learning. And having people take control of their own development.
People experts and understand how
okay, so let's shift over here. So untethered, today's employees find themselves working from several locations and structuring their work in non-traditional ways to accommodate their lifstyles. Companies are finding it difficult to reach these people consistently and even harder to develop them efficiently. Yeah, I talk about the digital water cooler. Like, how do you, if anyone online has ideas, how do you provide the equivalent of a digital water cooler? In other words, a place where people can just hang out and chat and get to know each other, and as you would if you were going to get a glass of water or a cup of coffee.
I know you are scared.
I'm not sure if you're looking at this on your own screen, so just try to make it as big as possible here. So 30% of the global workforce is expected to be mobile by the end of 2015. 30% of full-time employees, be interesting to get an updated stat on that one there too. 30% of full-time employees do most of their work somewhere other than the employer's location. And 20% of workforce is comprised of temps, contractors, and freelancers. Has anyone online used any of the platforms here? Like Elance and Odesk have now combined, and they're called Upwork. Yeah. I can show. Does anyone? I don't know if you want to see that. Hi, Bob. I just noticed you're online. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. We're just talking about the modern learner, and I'm just showing people a website here. So we were just on this. Oops. We were just on the infographic, which is in several places in the portal, and just this, this 20%, like 1 out of every 5 is of the workforce is temps, contractors, and freelancers. So just curious, has anyone used Upwork at all? This platform? Hi Doreen, welcome. I can see you're online. We're so happy to have you. Has anyone used Upwork? Upwork is a place where you can post as a freelancer or post a job that you're looking for. So I just had someone design a specialized, it's like a little game for my new website, and I hired that person through Upwork. Has anyone used this? Another one is Fiverr. So Fiverr is is things that people will do for $5, and I have all my infographics designed by the Codeville. So they're a wonderful company. They're based in India, so they're one of the service providers on Fiverr, and they've designed a bunch of infographics for me. So that's just related to this point here of the 20% workforce is comprised of temps, contractors, and freelancers. For those of you online, can you relate to that? Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? Any ideas there? I'm going to just keep going, but if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to jump in. On demand, employees are accessing information and learning differently than they did just a few years ago. Oh, okay, so when Jugo is saying link here in Kenya, okay, so I don't know this one, let me just bring that up. So when Jugo, is it the same kind of thing? It's for hiring, is it link.com? Let's see if this comes up. So can you hire freelancers and offer your skills as a freelancer on Link? Let's see if this comes up. No. The Wi-Fi is a bit slow here. Let us know when you go if you've used that service. Did you like it? And did you use it as a freelancer, or did you use it as okay, so you used it, great. And did you use it to hire someone, or did you use it to sell your services? And only answer if that's comfortable for you. Okay, I'll try to come back there. It's not coming up. So most are looking for answers outside of traditional training and development channels. For example, to learn what they need for their jobs, employees access. Oh, so you used it to hire someone. Okay, great. Nice. Okay. And thumbs up. Did the experience go well? Did it not go well? Was there any particular challenges? I know I've had both. Okay, so I think maybe it's not. Maybe it's .co.ke.
So this is something that seems quite natural to yourself.
I know when I hired someone on the old version of Upwork to do a logo, Oh, you can get services from plumbing to chefs. Okay, awesome. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, this is so exciting. Thanks, Wanjugo. Okay, I'm totally looking into this. Nice. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And, you know, of course, the benefit to all of these is the social component. You can see how other people are rated, and it's like, you know, the Airbnb of, you know, hiring freelancers. It's can be pretty cool. I had a bad experience for one person I hired through Upwork. They actually stole a logo from somewhere else. But as you can reverse search images, I was able to find that out. And they had a really great conflict resolution process, so they were actually kicked off the platform for doing something like that. And I've had, you know, mostly really, really good experiences through hiring. Like I say, through Fiverr, I've had lots of infographics designed, and through Upwork I just had a really cool little game designed for my new website, which is going to be launching soon. Okay, so for people learning what they need to for their jobs, 70% of them are searching online and through search engines, and 50 to 60% will go to online courses. Anyone online taken an online course recently? Let us know how that went. What did you like? Was there anything you didn't like? The one I can bring it up quickly or not. There's a lot of windows here. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I'm taking the complete digital marketing course through Udemy. It's a pretty big course in that, I mean, big for the online space. There's hours and hours of content. And it's organized really, really well. It's designed by a guy in Ireland, and it cost me like $15, like super inexpensive. And I'm really well. And you can, I don't know if you can see, it's quite small there. You know, it's just really bite-sized learning. You know, a long lesson here is would be like 15 minutes. So things are really bite-sized. And also, I don't know if anyone else online does this, I listen to it at 1.5 speed. So I speed up the audio, so I can get through it faster.
To propose.
So back to here. So again, you know, anyone online, let us know if you took an online course. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like or not like? Or have you taught an online course? People are increasingly turning to their smartphones to find just-in-time answers to unexpected problems. I know in this digital marketing course, they talk a lot about this, that you know, Google is, you know, the biggest search engine in the world, and people go there to solve a problem, you know. And I thought that was a really interesting way to frame it. Okay, so we're here, you know, about focusing on the L&D for folks. So collaborative learners are, so when you go, so 1.5 speed, so you're surprised about that? Tell me more, what your emoticon says there. Is that a new piece of information to you, or can you not imagine doing the same? The reason why I do it is he speaks quite slowly, and I just found myself like, okay, I think I, you know, and actually, I barely even notice that it's 1.5 speed now. Like he sounds almost like normal, like he's speaking normally. Learners are also developing and accessing personal and professional networks to obtain information about their industries and professions. 80% of the workforce is learning. 80% of the workforce learning happens via on-the-job interaction with peers, teammates, and managers. Oh, Janeth is saying, can you please share more sites and bolos? What do you mean by bolos, Janeth? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you're saying you're shocked you can't imagine listening at a faster speed. Oh, hi, Rosalina. Welcome. Welcome. You've done courses on Udemy too? Yeah, hit or miss. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so actually, so the platform differs. Let me just reload this site. But most of the big platforms like Udemy, I think Edcast offers it. It's logged me out here. But even when you're listening to podcasts, almost anything digital. Come on, let me in here. Let me in. There is a little, books. Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah, almost all of these digital platforms, there is an option at the bottom. Yes, absolutely. That's social proof, Rosalita. Finding the reviews helpful before signing up. Absolutely, yeah. Super. And that's in terms of digital marketing. I mean, this is getting very specific. But hi, Sophia. Welcome back. In terms of that digital proof and looking for influencers and keywords, I've seen this over and over that people are suggesting that you go to those reviews and you look at them in terms of, like, if you're trying to teach a course online or something, you go to those competitors and you see what are people asking and what are they talking about. So you use it as a force of, as a way of actually instructional design, which I think is super, super interesting. So let me just, I'll just show you this feature down here. So it's right on this platform, it's right here. So you can see, and I just, like, for me, this is a super interesting example of, of how targeted learning is nowadays. So not only can I speed this up, I can go, if I want to, I can make it twice as fast. I've never been able to listen to everything twice as fast. So the default, of course, is 1 time. But you can also slow it down. So if you need it to go, look how many choices there are. 1, 2, 3. There's like 6 choices. Has anyone else tried listening to things slower or faster? Would love to know. And Janet, you asked about some other websites. Can you tell me what kind of sites you'd be interested in looking at? Just let me know there in the comments. I'm actually teaching a course online on using tech tools because I'm just absolutely so interested, and I think that many of us don't use these tools near as often, to save time and be more efficient, and just help us do research or teach or learn or whatever. So again, Janet, just if you have a specific question there, something specific you're looking for, just pop it in and we'll see if we can help you. In the meantime, just heading back to this infographic here. I know in my instructional design, I'm really trying to focus on this peer-led. I think the peer-led, is really, really great because it also helps from an instructional design perspective to really reinforce the learning and transfer the learning. So it helps people remember and make it practical and applicable. So I'm always including those in my online offerings now. So learners are, asking questions of other people, they're sharing what they know. 55% of training courses are delivered by an ecosystem of 2,000 plus peer learners. So if we think about the whole, Wikipedia, that explosion. I know it wasn't that long ago that, something like Wikipedia, it's run by volunteers. It's just, absolutely incredible. This social component, which of course, can be a force for good and a force for evil. Online bullying, for example, is nothing to take for, it's no small thing. So again, I know I've got this infographic really blown up high so you can see it, and hopefully you can also see it on your own device. This is talking about learners being overwhelmed and distracted. So some of the things that help is we've gone is untethered. So really looking at learning systems that acknowledge that people are not bound to one desk in one place and one office. They really move around a lot, that people can get things on demand, and then that can be collaborative. I know I've been experimenting for a number of years now with tools that help people collaborate yeah, I don't, it definitely takes some, finding a tool that's right for the audience. I'll just show you one example here. I don't know, Janeth, if this is the kind of thing that you're looking for. So I'm just bringing up my blog here, and this is something that is so easy for people to access. Okay, so about e-learning technology. Okay, so this is a tool that you may or may not know of. So many people know about Google Docs and Google Sheets. So Google Docs is the Word version, Microsoft Word version, and Google Sheets is like an Excel sheet on Google. Not as many people know about Google Drawing. So this is again, just really trying to work on engagement. Because we all know as educators, people are engaged, they're going to learn a lot better. So this is a post that talks about what's your relationship like with your supervisor, and then there's a and if you want to look at this for yourself, because I know it's small, probably especially if you're on a phone, it's probably small. Just go to my blog, so blog.rpsinc.ca, and in the tag here in the search engine, just put supervisor, and you'll come up with this post. And then I have people click on this link, and they're now in a Google Drawing sheet. Now there's pros and cons to this. These instructions are basically how to draw an arrow that represents their relationship with their supervisor. So basically, it's a way to engage people, right? It's about starting a conversation, and I think it's kind of fun and creative, and it's interesting, right? People have done different shaped arrows, and then what I didn't expect is over here there's a bunch of comments, right? So you can scroll down and you can see all these comments, and can anyone guess what the downside to this is online?
They founded it.
Any ideas? And this is one of the things that I find is a downside across a number of tools. This is consistent. Any guesses?
My colleagues also attended the event, so the event was so off.
Okay, do you want me to tell you? From my perspective anyways. My perspective, so the upside is that I can get people to draw these arrows, and then I can use this in a bunch of different ways, right? In lots of different kinds of workshops on communication, on organizational development, on learning and development, on conflict resolution. The opportunities are endless. The downside to this, and I find this with so many tools, is if you imagine sort of a continuum, where at this end of the continuum is 100. Hi, Rosalita. See you're back there. Welcome. At this end of the continuum is 100% editable, right? So people can go in and change and edit and comment and stuff. And this end is I can't edit it at all. So I'm just making a pretend continuum in the air here. So at this end of the continuum is I can't edit, I can't comment, I can't change, I can't draw anything. The Google Draw is, and if anyone online knows any different setting, I would be forever in your debt to find out about this. But what I've only been able to find out is the Google Draw, if I let you edit, it's right here, right? You're right at this end of the continuum, which means that someone could come in and erase everything, right? So that's the downside. And I think that's one of the issues with these tools, is trying to figure out, how do we get engagement But how do we, not allow people who, either by mistake or perhaps, malevolently, erase your work. Now Google, you can go back and you can find the last version, but has anyone faced that challenge online, to see, trying to open up access? Marilyn, I can't see if you're online still, but I know that was a challenge we faced with one of our MOOCs, our massive open online courses. I wanted people to be able to drop a pin on a map. Actually, Janet, this is another tool. Let me just, so while I was saying that, what I was thinking of is I'd like to be able to show you this tool. So I'm just seeing if I bookmarked it. Does anyone online use a social bookmarking tool? I don't want to tell you stuff you already know, so just tell me to speed up if you already know this. But the one I use is Digo, so it's installed here on my browser. Right here, that little blue thing. And then if I want to save a bookmark, I just click Save Bookmark. It will give it a title, but I can change that. And then I can give it a bunch of tags. So I'm going to call it communication, I'm going to call it creativity, and former tags that I've used will pop up. It's a tool, so I'm going to use that, and it's an online tool, so I'm going to use that tool, and then I'm going to save it. Now, I relatively recently switched from another tool to Digo, so I used to have thousands and thousands and thousands of tags. So just to make sure I'm bringing you all along with me, this is the page where I was giving you an example of this tool, this drawing tool. And I was going to try to show you a map, a Google map that I've created. Let's just see.
All the exposure that you give, it's obvious. So how do you help them really?
And I haven't mapped it yet, because as I said, I've just changed over, so there's not as many.
As a disabled person, how do you change my life?
See if I can show you this, because I wanted to try to give you.
Do you provide? You said I provide, or our organization provides wheelchairs, and what is it exactly that you provide? Do you enable?
Has anyone else used a Google Map for these purposes, where you can drop pins, like use it in a teaching way?
What kind of things?
Marilyn, I'm wondering if you remember. I'm going to be able to bring this up with me.
And what kind of business do you start?
I've changed a few things, so I have a couple of. Oh, here we are. Here we are. So Marilena, this will look familiar to you. So here we go. There we go. So I don't know if you remember this, Marilena, but this is part of the Peace Management and Conflict Resolution MOOC. So the MOOC is a massive open online course. So I'm just in Google Maps. Right? This is nothing special. But as a way of engaging people before the workshop, I asked them to drop a pin on the map. I don't know what you think. I think this is really cool. And people can put as much information on these pins as they want. They can put links to documents, links to a website, information, whatever they want. Oh, well. It was, even though I put really, really simple directions with screen grabs, and I thought I did a pretty good job of describing how to do this. What often happened is when someone tried to add their name, instead of adding their name to the pin, they would put their name in where the name of the map is, so up here. And if you change the name of the map, it changes the permissions, which means that, say Marilena came in, or you, Janet, and you tried to drop a pin, it wouldn't let you in anymore. So I would get an automatically generated email saying Janet is trying to access the map, which was, to me meant, someone's changed the name of the map again. So in the end, I ended up I think this on a different map, not this one, ended up labeling it, you know, PMC map of learners in brackets. Please don't change the name of the map.
It has to be sustainable. So it's actually
So,
good that
you know,
can
this is
do
another
track
example
that
of the
that's
tools.
but the
If you
mindset
open up and let people edit it, they can also
being profitable.
edit it in ways that make it not very helpful for other learners. And not, you know, they're not being malicious, they're just not
But
used to the
that's
tools.
mindset.
So,
People get money for free.
ironically, for the learning, I think
They
sometimes
are
we
not
have to
aware of
be a
how
little
much
bit
that
more
is. They
locked
don't
down
work
in the
it.
tool.
They
You know, if
just
there's
take
too
it
much
for granted,
transparency
whatever.
and people
I
can
think
change
if they
permissions,
have
then
the
it
obligation
just
in
affects the
their
next
mind
learner. And if you're
to
dealing
give
with
it
people, you
back
can
to
see how many
the
time zones
so
we have,
somebody
right?
else
So if someone comes in, you know, at 9 o'clock their time and they can't access and they request access, and I, as the instructional designer, don't get back to them for 12 hours or 8 hours because of time zone issues, you know, then maybe I've lost them. So those are just some things to think about. So a couple of tools there. We've talked about the Google Draw. You know, there's Digo is a wonderful, wonderful, easy to get up and running bookmarking tool. We talked about doing some things in Google Maps. You can drop pins. So I'm just going to bring us back to the thing here. Just want to finish off the last piece, and then we've just got 10 more minutes. We'll bring us back to the large group in a sec. I'm just going to let the other group know that. Folks, can I just interrupt just for a sec? Love that the
You're just so.
I know, it's great. One of my measures as a trainer is it's a good thing if it's hard to get people's attention because it means they're engaged and chatting. I just wanted to do a quick time check and let you know that it's 10 to 12. So in just maybe 2 to 5 minutes, we'll come back together as the large group, wrap up, and you'll be a couple hours closer to the weekend. Someone is asking, do you want to tag Nicodemus in this video? Sure, yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, so I'll come back to you in a couple minutes and we'll wrap up. Okay, so we've talked a bit about on-demand, the importance of being collaborative, and then the last piece here, the last couple minutes, is empowered. So rapid changes in business and organizations means everyone needs to constantly be learning. More and more people are looking for options on their own because they aren't getting what they need from their employers. 2.5 to 5 is the half-life in years of many professional skills. I mean, that's just amazing. You know, when you think, you know, of all of the years that people, you know, for example, you know, historically have gone to university, and if those skills are going to be out of date in 2.5 to 5 years, that really puts a lot of onus on us as learning and development people, as well as, of course, the participants to, you know, continuous lifelong learning. 38% of workers who say they have opportunities for learning and growth at their workplace. I mean, that's not even half, you know. I just think we really, you know, in our profession, we have so many opportunities now to do this better, and with, you know, strategic use of all these tools. And of course, again, you know, any comments, questions, jot them down there in the comment section. And then finally, 62% of IT professionals report having paid for training out of their own pocket. So, you know, when you put that together with, you know, people being overwhelmed and distracted and impatient, you know, folks are only having 1% in their work time to focus on training and development, and if they have to pay for it, you know, that's a pretty, you know, unempowered, I think, workplace. Which is a big reason why in my training now I give clients the option to link the learning and development work that I do to the learning culture in the organization if they want, as well as the organizational development culture. So before we go back to the large group and close for the last few minutes, any questions, comments on any of that? Janet, I hope you got a couple of tools there that were helpful. So delightful to have you guys here. I just so appreciate it. This is something new we're trying, and you know, I put the video, the live video, inside the event, and I think that's what's prevented me from seeing the comments on my screen in the group's Facebook feed. So next time I'll know not to do that. So thank you for your patience with that.
Sure.
Any last comments, questions? See the heart there. That's great. Thank you to anyone who did that. Okay, I think we'll come back to the large group then. This is the agenda. You would have got this in an email, and I also uploaded the link in the Facebook group, so this is all what we're going off of. And I'll also upload it to the portal, and I think we'll come back to the large group and just close in the next few minutes. So feel free, comments, questions, you are most welcome. Okay, folks, if I can bring your attention back to the large group. Great. And if I could ask you to make sure that that screen is on me there. Is it? Okay, so sometimes I think at the beginning of these networking sessions, it's like 2 hours is a long time to have these free-flowing conversations, and every single time it's like, wow, where did the time go? So I want to thank you and just give you an opportunity. Is there anything that you wanted to just very briefly as we close chat about? And just let me know if anyone online makes a comment there. Anything that popped up that you went, oh, any little inner voice there? Anything you were surprised about?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about what overwhelms people in that learning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different aspects. I mean, difficult to wrap it up because so much came out. But yeah, it's a different. I think if my take out of this, with what overwhelms people in that learning process, is actually more cultural than the difficulty itself.
Yeah. We spent some time talking about, there was some requests for some specific tools. You know, I think the wonderful opportunities of having real-time learning that fits the need in the moment at the right time with the right technology, you know, that is engaging and interesting. I think the learning and development field has not done a good job with this tech. I think online learning, frankly, is mostly really boring because it's lecturing. Right? It's pedagogy from the 1970s, right? So how can we use these tools to be interesting and creative? So we were talking about a couple of examples. So this is my blog, if you just go to, if you wanted to see this, it's blog.rpsinc.ca. If you just search for supervisor, this is a post on what's your relationship like with your supervisor, right? And what I try to do is use tools to gather information and engage people that then we can launch into all sorts of interesting conversations from there. So if you go to this post, there's a link here about, if you click on that link, you come to a Google Draw tool. So most people know about Google Docs and Google Sheets, but not so much about Google Draw. So this is an image, the blob tree. I've paid for this image, I have the rights to use it. And it's just simply, you just draw an arrow to the character that represents your relationship with your supervisor. So it's a little bit creative. You know, this is how to do it. And what was interesting is I hadn't expected people to make comments, right? So that's interesting. That was an added bonus. The downside to it is that when you open up these tools for editing and commenting, technically people can erase them. Right? So I don't think we're at the right level with these tools. We haven't become sophisticated enough. I don't think anyone, you know, in my tribe, they're not going to go in here and be mean and leave a nasty comment or erase it. But someone could do that by mistake, right, and not know what they're doing. Just as with Google Maps. So this is a map of a MOOC, so a massive open online course I taught on peace management and conflict resolution. and as a way to pre-engage people. So before they start taking the online course, how can I draw you in, and get you interested? So people dropped a pin. But what I found happened a lot. And even though I had super specific, super simple instructions with screen grabs, instead of putting their name on the pin, they would put their name as the name of the map.
No.
And that changes the permission. So you come in, you drop the pin, and you don't know what you've done, but you've changed the name. Then you try to come in and drop your pin, and I get an automatic email saying, Nicodemus is trying to get to the mat. And I'm like, oh, someone's changed. So we have a long way to go. But I think the challenges are I'm excited about these tools and the opportunities. So I want to thank you for your passion and your commitment. It's been a bit of a weird day. I think lots of people, I don't know if it's the weather, really want to say thanks to those of you online from all over the world. So it's just such a treat to be able to be in the room with people, from all over the world. This video will be available in the Facebook group almost instantly. So it's there, it stays there, people can watch it. If they're a member of the group, they have to be a member of the group to see it. On the agenda that you should have got an email, it's also in the Learning and Development Facebook group, this agenda. There's lots of resources in here. 5.5 years of meetings are all in the resource portal. You can click on that to your heart's desire, see all that stuff. And just as we close, is there any announcements at all? Anything coming up in your community that you want to share? And if you see anyone making a comment online, let me know. I have one. I am taking a big leap in my business this year, as I alluded to at the beginning. I'm never, hopefully ever, going to stop doing face-to-face training, but I also want to extend my relationship with the participants that I get to the privilege of working face-to-face with, and also bring in new people. So I'm starting to teach my courses online. So I'm really excited to say on the 27th of March, I'm teaching a course called From Overwhelmed to Organized, Technology Tips and Techniques to Serve You. So if you're interested, check that out. There's 2-for-1 specials, so it's half price for folks, so you can check that out. It's a 3-hour online course. It's fully online. There's no face-to-face component of it. If you intended to donate and you haven't had a chance, feel free to do that. If you want to borrow anything from the library, let me know. And our next meeting is April the 20th, and Fiona is going to come and speak. Fiona works at the High Commission, the Canadian High Commission here, and a big part of her job, unfortunately, is rescuing Canadians who are in trouble. And there's a relatively large community of Canadian Somalis who, kids who get sent to school, a traditional school in Somalia or here, and there's some pretty horrific abuse that happens. And so the embassies and high commissions all collaborate and cooperate and try to get these kids out and safe. And so this is not a session on Canada's foreign policy around that, but it is a session on how do you make decisions in high stakes, right? Where it's intercultural, it's stressful, there's conflict. So she's going to give some scenarios, and we're going to break up into small groups, and the small groups are going to try to figure out, like, what would you do in that situation, right? Someone's really in danger, or something's happening, or you're at the airport and, the army showed up and is not letting this person out, or what do you do? And then she'll tell us what she actually did. So I think if you're interested in intercultural, conflict, high stakes, and you want to hear some real, honest, scenarios that have actually happened. She's not making this stuff up. This is what she does. Then please join us on the 20th. And on the 18th, our next one, a colleague of mine from Canada might be in town, so we might actually do a back-to-back guest speaker. And she does some really interesting work on archetypes and it's all, I don't know if you've done this work on marketing and archetypes. Some interesting work around meeting people's needs and what are their values and their visions, all based on different archetypes. So pretty interesting. So we're just sort of in discussion about that. And then these are the rest of the meetings. So that's May 18th, June 22nd, and you can look at the agenda for the rest of the meetings for the year. Anything else that you have questions about or comments?
Not from my end.
Okay. Well, for those of us in Nairobi, I will say stay warm and dry and safe this weekend.
Especially dry.
Yeah, the weather has just been, all my in-laws landed last night, and it's like, oh no, it's from Canada. So it's not great weather, but hopefully it's going to turn around. And to those, I know. Well, it takes 24 hours, so they'd have to be really motivated to get back so quick. And to those of you online, thank you. We'll stop recording now. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for taking time out to join us, and we hope to see you next month.